So in this video, again, I'm on the Reforged test server. This time I want to be talking about premium and collector tanks and just clarifying some things on, well, these types of vehicles. So firstly, with all premium and collector tanks, you will be able to find them in sets, and with sets they are no longer locked by keys, so you can actually buy any tank in a set that you want as long as you have reached that level in the set. So for example, let me just open one up like this KB2 set. Now, 1 second, I'll turn down the sound a little bit. So in this set, for example, you can see the T150 is at level 15. Once you grind enough XP to reach level 15, the purchase for T150 will be available. This is a collector tank, so it is going to be cheaper than premiums. And then at level 40, you can see the KV5. Again, once you reach level 40 in XP, you will be able to buy the KV5 for gold. So for the most part, premium and collector tanks will be generally available at any time you want, given that you have unlocked that level in a set. Of course, they will still be regularly appearing in the store, which allows you to obtain them without having to grind to a certain level in a set. Now, the next thing I want to explain is that collector tanks are cheaper than premium tanks to purchase in Reforged. The reason being is that collector tanks will lose their profitability. Just to clarify, that doesn't mean that if you have a collector tank, it's going to go to zero profitability. As you can see here, I have tons of collector tanks in my garage, and they all make extra credits. The reason being, if you own a collector tank before the Reforged update, it will keep the same level of credit making as it had before the update went live. The difference is, if you buy a new collector tank in Reforged, like one in a set, or it shows up in the store and you buy it, or it comes in a crate and you get a collector tank, then it will have zero profitability. So for example, the tier 10 T22 medium, this, ever since it entered the game, it had the same profitability as tech tree tanks. So you can see here, it is common profitability. It makes no extra credits compared to other collector and premium tanks. But if you take another tank, for example, like the Object 260, because I owned this before the Reforged update, you can see it already has an extra level of profitability applied to it. Now, this is something you want to note. Make sure if you have a collector tank you really like playing and you want it to keep making credits for you, don't sell it before the Reforged update. Because after the Reforged update drops, it will lose its credit making ability if it is not in your garage by the time that the Reforged update comes. So like for example the T22 medium, because it starts at 0, it will be the same as other collector tanks which you don't have in the garage, and you can see how much that saves you in terms of credit making. If I wanted to get the T22 up to the same level the Object 260 has for its credit making ability, it's going to cost me 13,000 gold for permanent enrichment. But for the 260, just because I didn't sell it before the Reforged update, it does mean that I have that extra credit making ability already added on, and it won't cost extra. Now, that is worth noting, as you could see on that screen, 13k, that's the total cost. That is 8k plus 5k to get that extra 20%. And then the final one is plus another 3k, which is 16k total. I'm just wanting to clarify that because it does show here this is an extra 3k, which means it's cumulative cost. It's not, extra each time. So if you go 8k, then the next one's not going to cost you 13k, it'll cost you another 5k, and then after that it won't cost you 16k, it'll cost you another 3k. Just want to clarify that, just to be clear on all of this, on the credit making and all that stuff. Now, with that out of the way, collectors losing their credit making ability in Reforged. Of course, if you buy a new collector in Reforged, I mean, other ones will keep them if you already owned it. But let's talk about premiums now. So premiums, they will keep their credit making ability, hence why they are going to cost a bit more than collector tanks in the Reforged update. I can't remember all the prices and I can't check because I own most of the tanks, but I believe that it is an extra roughly 2.5k for a premium tank compared to a collector tank. So if I just go to check, you can see here the T42 in tier 7 costs 5k. It is a collector tank. I think a premium tank in tier 7 costs 7.5k. For tier 6, you can see the Forger is a premium that costs 5k. I think a collector tank is like 3.5k in tier 6, so there is a price difference for those. For tier 8, I do know for certain that a premium tank is 10k and a collector tank is 7.5k. And for tier 9, a collector tank is 10k and a premium I think is 12.5. For tier 10, collector tanks are 15k and there are no tier 10 premiums, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, the difference in profitability between premiums and collectors is notable. So obviously new collector tanks will start at 0, but ones you had before the update are, well, they've got a different level of profitability. Let's just look at tier 8 for example. So some of these you can see they have like level 6 profitability, these collector tanks. Some of them go down to 4, some of them go down to 5, but almost none of them have more than the level 6 profitability. Now, let's look at premiums, for example. They all generally range from level 7 to 8. A few of them, very high credit earners like the Lova, earn level 9 profitability, but most of them are level 7 and 8. A few of them are 6, but the majority are between levels 7 and 8, as you can see here. A few of them up to level 9 even, but that does add just an extra level of credit making. So for example, level 9 makes 150% silver, level 8 is 130, level 7 is 110. So you can see how keeping a premium in your garage is going to save you, well, a lot of credits. And for Reforged, a lot of the grinding is going to be transferred to credits. So just as an example, if I go to find some tech tree tank, let's just find one quickly. Let's find a non-tier 10 tech tree tank. So Pershing, for example, you can see all the modules here. If you haven't checked out the other video where I look at the new tanks or the Type 5 heavy line, do check those out because I think I look at some of the modules in those. It's the one with the new tanks in it. Anyway, modules are all purchased for credits, so having a premium is actually going to help you tons with researching tanks because modules are not for XP anymore, they are for credits. And premium tanks, I can tell you, make tons more credits than collector tanks. The battle results are bugged. You can't actually check battle results, but this battle, which I had in the Skoda T56, I did 4.6k damage and I made 1.3 million credits, which I can tell you right now, if I did 4.6k damage in a Skoda in the current Blitz, the max I would make is like 300k. Maybe a bit more if it's like a birthday or something, but the max I would make is 300k with premium time and everything installed. But here I made 1.3 million credits because the Skoda T56 in Reforged just has an adjusted economy for this new meta where you have to get modules for credits instead of for XP. I think that covers most of the things about premiums and collector tanks. If you want some advice for what to do, in conclusion, basically, keep the collector tanks which you really like playing. Don't sell them, because you'll have to buy them back in Reforged anyway using the VRT, and then they'll have lost their credit making status. And like I said, credit making status is going to cost you quite a lot to buy from 0. For example, if we look at tier 8, yeah, it's still 8.4k gold just to get it up to 100%. Whereas if you keep your favorite collector tank in your garage, it's going to save you quite a lot of gold and you won't have to actually upgrade it. Like the Type 59, for example, you can't even spend gold because it's at the max level of profitability. Next, premiums make more credits than collector tanks, so should keep at least some of your good credit grinding premiums if you do want to grind up some modules for tanks in Reforged. You don't have to keep all of them, sure. I don't know why you would want to sell premium tanks necessarily, because they do become more valuable in Reforged. There wouldn't really be much of a benefit to selling your premium tanks in the current Blitz. But if you did, for whatever reason, just keep your best credit grinding premium tanks, like the Lurva, for example. If you have the Scepter, which is really rare, then keep that one. The T2064, not the best of tanks, but it does make a lot of credits. And then just other tanks which are premiums. I think some of them may have changed status from collector to premium, but for the most part, keep your premiums, as they will help you to grind up stock tanks. You won't need XP anymore, it will just be for credits. And one last thing, if you do have collector tanks, which you don't play in current Blitz a lot, like some tanks which you just got from crates, but you don't really like it, you don't really play it a lot, but you've been saving it in your garage to, you know, for whatever tank you want that does come to store. I never say sell collector tanks, but this one time I will say, if there's a tank you really want in a set, and you have enough gold if you sold your tanks, then do it. Because you can't sell tanks in Reforged. You have to, well, save up gold in Reforged. You can't just use your tanks as kind of a collateral payment. So while you still can sell your tanks, if you have some collector tanks which you just hate playing, they're just sitting in your garage doing nothing, sell them, keep the gold, and when Reforged drops, you can go to sets, find some tank you really wanted to buy, grind up enough XP in that set to actually buy it, and then, you know, use that gold which you got from selling the tank to buy it. Like, for example, if I sold some tanks in the current Blitz, and then I saved up enough gold, 5k gold for example, and I really wanted to buy the T42 for some reason, then I can come to Reforged, open up the set, and buy the T42. Like, just like that, just that simple. As long as I have the level in the set, then I can get the tank. And sets don't take keys anymore, so you can get almost any premium with a bit of grinding and saving some gold. So that is my recommended advice, is that, you know, you got some tanks you don't want, then sell them, save the gold, buy the tank you do want in Reforged. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. I know it was a bit long, a bit confusing, no gameplay, but I hope that the information helped, and I hope that helps you guys make decisions on your collector tanks, your premium tanks, and basically how you grind the modules in Reforged. I will hopefully do another video for XP and stuff like that. But yeah, I hope this one was helpful. Thanks all for watching.